We'll talk a little bit about broadband testing again as we go along.
We also have some tax credits to talk about.
Yeah, we got all kinds of things to talk about.
Things.
So
just
go. Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah.
I appreciate the opportunity to be here and to talk about different things I'm doing. I like talking about what I'm doing, so that's a good thing.
It is good, because, and congratulations on next week. And you also
Thank you.
are going to be getting you're graduating, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
Before you get into our local stuff here, you were into an academy from Delta Regional Authority, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and you graduate next week.
Yes.
This is a delayed thing.
It is.
Should have
It
happened
is.
before, but
Yes.
got postponed due to a small little hurricane.
Yeah,
or some
yeah,
crazy
just
little
minor
thing.
thing,
Like that. I'd have gone. The heck with that. But congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that. Can you
Thank you.
explain a little bit of what that was before you jump in?
Sure. So the Delta Regional Authority is a federally designated region. I guess that's the best way to put it. It encompasses, I believe, 8 states along the Mississippi River. And the idea is that these states and the counties that are included, because it's not the entire state of Missouri.
Right.
There's a total of 252 counties in the Delta region, as defined. Dent County, now you might think, well, wow, we're quite a ways from the Mississippi. We don't get flooded by it. We're not.
We have a river that get the tributes.
Well, yes, we have tributaries that go there. But the other thing is, when they defined the area, they looked at, we'll call it socioeconomic factors. So things like poverty, things like adverse circumstances that our communities face that are similar all throughout this region. And so it's health issues, it's poverty, it's access and the rural nature of a lot of our communities. And so they formed this at the federal level to help funnel additional funding and resources to these counties and these areas.
Okay.
So that's the purpose. Well, as they were determining how best do we do this, well, one of the things they hit on was that maybe we need to be working on developing our leadership within the region. So they created the Delta Leadership Academy, and every year they select candidates. You have to have letters of recommendation. Thank you, Commissioner Skiles, who submitted a letter. Our mayor at the time also submitted a letter for me. The governor of the state, of each of the states, also sits on a board for the Delta region, and so they see all of the applicants that come through, and they select students or fellows, as we're called, from every state for each class. And so you go and they do it's intense education on policy, even on history of the region. There are book assignments. We've got quite a bit of heavy reading to do. And we talk about everything from how to conduct effective meetings to policy at both the state and federal levels, and how do you interact with our elected delegates. I mean, it really covers a broad range, but all about leadership development in the region.
And probably also discusses a lot of the benefits of the region and what it can do for your area,
Absolutely.
because there have been grants associated with Delta Regional Authority that can help out in infrastructure and different things of that
infrastructure,
nature.
workforce, health. They have a lot of, and they have 4 key categories. I know those are 3 of them. I won't be able to recite off the top of my head the 4th one at the moment, but I know, shame on me, right? I have till next week to study up. So, but they're really focused on kind of elevating the communities within that region. So.
And in doing so, that opportunity comes that those people don't have to take local monies and utilize them for infrastructure or something of that nature that would take away from what they could do locally with those dollars and cents. Whether you're promoting the area or whatever, or other infrastructure that needs to be taken care of. We keep talking about broadband and the different ways it's being funded. Well, Delta Regional Authority possibly could even also help in that respect as well.
And in some ways they are. And I know we wanted to talk about a few other things, and we'll jump back to that, and we'll talk about how they're involved in broadband throughout the Delta here in a bit.
A lot going on this broadband.
A lot.
It's got a lot of attention.
Yeah.
But we congratulate you on that, because that was a year-long.
Yes,
it was supposed to be a year-long.
Well, I know with COVID and everything.
We started our first 2 sessions ended up being virtual, And then, things kind of loosened up, and then we went to in person, and then we had a hurricane, and that got delayed. I think graduation's been delayed twice now, so it's been an interesting year. But it's, that really becomes the challenge, though. Developing leadership is all about how do you overcome the challenges faced in your community and in your life in general. And so our class has had a few.
Oh, yeah. Sounds like you've had adventures, no doubt. Anyway, but again, congratulations on graduation next week there.
Yes.
And I look forward to seeing a cap and gown. Do you get a cap and gown for this?
I don't think we get a cap and gown. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wouldn't that be cool? Maybe a robe. Maybe they'll give you a robe.
Well,
That'd be
maybe.
kind of nice. Anyway, but again, congratulations on
Thank
that. That's a very unique thing, as you mentioned. Not many people are selected to
Correct.
participate in that.
Correct. Believe we had 4 from Missouri
No,
in my
that's
class.
not many.
So,
Not
yeah.
many. Very good. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Okay. Now,
Shall
any
we-
other tangent you want to go off
Any
on?
other
You go
tangent?
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's go back to the industrial park and the certified site.
Okay.
And I do know that there are a lot of questions kind of floating around in the community about what's going on because, when I do reports to the county commission and to the aldermen, I know yourself, and, media picks up on some of that and gives like little snippets. And so it kind of leaves folks wondering what is going on there.
That's why you're here.
That's why I'm here, to explain it all.
More
right?
Explain it all.
details.
You do it, Lucy.
Thanks.
Explain it, Lucy.
So, what we have undertaken in the industrial park is to apply for certified site status on one parcel. Okay. So, what that means, it's one thing for our community to have an industrial park, and the intent, of course, is to grow or attract businesses to help provide jobs, improve our lives here in Dent County. But the thing is, we'll say it's been a little slow. Okay. I mean, we've had the industrial park for years, and we do have some good, solid businesses in there.
Right.
I'm thankful that we do. But we still have quite a bit of acreage that's available. And so in an effort to kind of move that forward and market our community, I want to step back just a second and say, economic development and what I do, and certainly as it relates to the industrial park, is all about the long game. It's not about what's going to happen tomorrow.
Right.
It's,
Positioning.
it is, and it's positioning for next year and 5 years and 10 and 30 and on. And you really have to try to get in that frame of mind about long term, where do we want to go and what do we want to be, and then what do we need to do today to get us there. So that's what this certified site application is about. So it's a certification that's given by the State of Missouri Economic Development Department. Okay. And to become a certified site, you need a minimum of 25 acres. So we did survey out a 25-acre parcel. You then have to make sure that it passes. There are no environmental issues there.
Yeah.
So we've already done that. We've done our phase 1 environmental, and that came back good. You have to make sure there's no archaeological or historical items on the property, that you would have issues building around. We've done that. So that's good there. You have to do, like I said, there's all these different kind of steps you have to go through.
Oh, yeah.
And so right now we find ourselves at the point of clearing the timber. And I equate this to, some people can look at you talk about a vision and they can see it in its final form. And other folks struggle to see it in its final form.
Some even in its present form.
Well, sometimes. But if I were to take a business out there today and show them this 25 acres, we have this beautiful tract, 25 acres of Ozark timber. And they're going to say, okay, great. I can't quite see my business on that, because it's timbered. It's,
Right. Sure. Exactly.
They can't
Sure.
see what the whole 25 acres looks like. It's, there's obstacles in the way. We'll call them trees. But, and so in order to get it ready for a potential business to come, we need to get that timber cleared. We need to get the stumps removed and have it as a nice, clean slate, so to speak.
Shovel ready.
Yes, shovel ready. And part of what that means is that, like I mentioned, environmental, historical, there's a whole lot of other, I had to research tornado paths and earthquake activity and all of this kind of stuff for this. So when it's done and we get that certification, a business can come look at it and they can be assured that if I purchase this property theoretically, I could start building my building tomorrow. There's no other hidden things that might pop up for them. And so it creates this sense of, oh, we are ready to go. Whereas if somebody bought it today, they've got X months to clear the timber, and they've got, all of this other work.
They would have to go through the same process as you did.
They would, very much so. And so this kind of fast forwards that process. And then we're able to market that. The other thing when we talk about marketing it, in the state of Missouri, there's only about 33 certified industrial sites in the entire state. So when a business is looking at our state, the first place they're going to look, oh, hey, you know what? This list of 30-some sites is ready to go. I know it is because it's been certified. So let's look at those first because that's going to get me fastest to construction.
They're either going to look for a place that's already got a building that meets their specific
Correct.
needs, which probably doesn't happen a lot.
Right.
Or what's a place that once they sign the papers, they can start building
That's right.
exactly what
Right.
they want.
Yeah,
next
because,
week.
Time is money. When you're looking at building a new facility for a business, time is money. And any delays, and so this kind of fast tracks that process. So
the certified site in the industrial park, and if anybody is not aware of the Jack Masters Industrial Park out there, basically there's a T. You have your
when you drive down in there.
Bob Boulevard, it goes out there, and that tees off at the end, and then goes down to the old water tower, and the water
on
tower
one
down
side.
there, and the old Ozark Rivers manufacturing, and the sink manufacturing,
Right.
and up to everything cinema
Right.
at the top, and then the trash dump. Maybe people might know more about the trash
Or
dump.
the yard waste
the yard
facility.
waste, yeah,
Yes.
I know. Well, anyway, but it ends
so,
up sometimes.
yeah. So this parcel
but that
is-
parcel's right across, basically from the everything cinema area
And the
as
yard
well,
waste.
and the yard waste. Okay.
Yes. So we actually divided up that into two pieces right there. So the certified site parcel is 25 acres, and then there's an additional 5-acre piece right there on the corner where the streets tee.
Okay.
And so that piece would be available, but it wouldn't be a certified site. So, but that one will be available and will be cleared at the same time we're clearing the certified site.
Okay.
So,
Very good.
So we'll have 30 acres of cleared, ready to go.
So as we talk like this, we know that coming up the next Board of Aldermen meeting, you've gotten bids
Yes.
on clearing that timber, but also it wasn't just the idea of the city to clear it, but also to make some money off that timber, which has been growing there for a long time.
Yeah.
In many cases, there's some undergrowth, but there's some nice-sized trees in there
Right.
that could venture back a few dollars.
Right. And that was when we started thinking about, how do we go about this, some of the intent was that, if that timber could be harvested, that should then go to offset some of the cost of the clearing of that. And so, even at that, it's not a cheap thing to clear 30 acres of timber. But again, you've got to look at it as the long game.
Right.
This is an investment in our community and in our future. And I always look at it like, okay, so great. So why are you trying to bring a business here? Well, I want to bring a business here that maybe
Jobs.
my children and grandchildren want to work at.
Sure.
Which means I'm looking, when I think about the types of businesses that I'm going to spend my time trying to bring to Dent County, they're going to be businesses that are going to offer benefits and, have probably average county wage or better for wages. These are things I'm looking for.
People can grow around the business and their
yes.
families can grow with it.
Yes. We've talked a lot since I've been here, and this is not uncommon for most small towns. What do the kids do when they grow up? Well, they leave. They leave to go to college, and we're lucky if they come back. Well, let's make sure we're providing future jobs and opportunities for them to come back to. And so to me, that's what it's about. A lot of people think about it, well, what are you doing? You're going to give all these benefits to someone from out of town. Well, the folks who will benefit first are those of us who are already here. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the important thing to keep in mind when we're doing these kinds of investments. We're investing in our future.
But you're bringing new people to the area have never been here.
This is
and
true.
They'll bring new people to the area that have
That's
never
true.
been here because they have
It
friends.
happens.
And then it multiplies. And people,
Yes.
But that doesn't happen overnight either.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
So it is it's a unique opportunity, and as you mentioned, these certified sites are so few
Right.
that are in the state, and that's ones that are available. As you know,
Yes.
we know 5 or 6 of those may get picked up the next
Between
3
now
or
and
4
then,
months.
yes.
So it may be a lot lower than
Right.
33. It could be
Right.
down to 25 in no time.
Yeah.
And so, You definitely want to be on that list.
Right. And the state lists all of the currently active certified sites on their website. And when they're talking to businesses, this is something that they have front and center, as well as the state has another. It's a nonprofit that contracts with the state called Missouri Partnership. And so they do the actual recruiting, trying to bring folks from other states, other countries, trying to bring businesses from other places to locate here in Missouri. And so they utilize that list as well. So.
Okay. So the certified site, almost, I say almost in the I guess I should say almost in the terms of getting closer.
Yes, it's getting closer.
But this has been 2 years,
2 years,
probably in the
yes,
making. A lot of
yes.
it having to worry about the spotted owl and the tarantula and the, who knows, well,
yes.
the
Because
Indiana
that is
bat.
another piece, yes.
Anything you can
Yes.
probably think of,
Right.
but everything got cleared, and that's the reason why they can now move the timber.
Right. I'm hoping that we get the timber cleared, and I say hoping because there's a few more steps I've got to complete. I've got to do some soil testing where they come in and actually do core samples and see, again, one of those things. If you're going to come put a large, substantially heavy building on this site, you want to make sure that the soils are going to support it, and you're not building it on the shifting sands. So, so we've got to do that. There are a few other steps we've got to do once the timber's cleared. So I'm hoping to have that certified site application to the state within the next 6 months.
So the timber has to be down by March 31st.
Correct.
Okay, then they can have time to clear it, but it has to be down.
Right. Timber has to be down by March 31st, so we are under a timeline during the most pleasant weather of the year.
Especially yesterday. It was
beautiful. Yeah.
Night this morning was nice.
So, that creates a few challenges trying to get the work done. But yes, March 31st. And that is so that we're adhering to any endangered species issues. We're not during roosting, breeding, nesting,
so forth,
those types of times, yes, for sensitive species.
Very good. And that will be brought up at the Alderman meeting, the
Tuesday.
bids that
Yes.
you received to clear that. That'll be brought up Tuesday night.
Yes.
All right, very good.
Yes.
So that's we got that out of the way.
Yeah,
that's
a lot.
That's really a big thing for our area, and I hope people understand that. It's not just say, we just go pick this site here.
Right.
And we're going to call you certified. No, it has to go through all these
Right.
different things. And it has to meet or beat or exceed the expectation there. And,
Yes.
that's quite a long, I've heard, hearing Sally talk about it, it's quite a long list
It is.
of things that you have to meet to
Yes.
qualify this site.
Yeah, and then we send all of that documentation for everything we've done, all of that documentation to the state. They then review it, and so long as we can check every box that we've done every step, everything's cleared, then they'll issue that certification. So
Would it be fair to say, okay, communities like ours, 25, 30 miles away from a U.S. highway, interstate highway, railroad, is generally at a pretty large disadvantage to attracting business in the past. But now there have been a little bit of a change. I mean, okay, let's say, obviously, Rolla, St. James up in there on the interstate.
right, that's the prime ideal. Right on the interstate.
That's why
Yeah.
Walmart the distribution center
yes.
ended up over there at St. James on
Yes.
interstate
Yes.
and U.S. highway down there. So forth. The new, I can't think of the name of it, but the egg carton
Right.
manufacturing
Right.
place
Right.
in Rolla.
In Rolla.
Those were all different things, and they were going to. But there's been, don't you feel like here, in the last few years, for various reasons, COVID being one of them, but different things, but also just social issues and things at the cities, that there's been a little bit more interest in some places and companies and things looking out to see about places a little more remote
A little more remote. The
better
other
quality of living for their people and
Yes.
lower cost.
Yes.
Let's face it, they're
Yes.
they're out for profit to make
and we do, and we
dollar.
see. I mean, I fielded, I'll just say multiple. We won't go into how many, but calls from folks from other states asking about land prices and about labor force and just all kinds of questions, just kind of feeling out, okay, what other opportunities are out there. So yes, there has definitely been some interest in smaller communities, more rural.
And something like this site deal is one of those that just gives us an edge
Yes, it does.
in that deal compared to many other communities our
It does,
size.
absolutely. And as far as the question about being off the interstate by about 30 miles. It's better than being 50 miles off.
That's right. Yeah.
Our plus, though, one plus that we have, and this is, Stan mentioned that, I'd grown up in the area. One plus that we have that we didn't have when I was growing up, when I was a kid here, is 72 between Salem and Rolla.
Absolutely.
Okay. It used to be like many of our other roads, and it was like riding a roller coaster,
Didn't
And
have a lot of hills to it.
Yes, yes. And as someone who struggles from car sickness, I appreciate the new road.
A little flatter.
But it's been widened. It's not as hilly. There's not the same kind of corners on a lot of our roads here in the Ozarks. And so that is a benefit for us. It's not, and I've talked with folks from the state and from the Missouri Partnership, because they regularly send out, hey, we have a business who's looking for X, Y, and Z. If they send it out statewide. If you have a site that meets this, please let us know, But they'll have all kinds of criteria, and each one's a little different. But a lot of times they'll say, need to be X miles from a 4-lane interstate. And I'm like, well, we're not quite there. And so if we meet everything else, I'm picking up the phone and asking, okay, here's how far we are from an actual 4-lane. But we have 72 that's widened, and most of the time they're like, well, go ahead and submit, because that's probably close enough to what they're looking for.
And some of those folks, if you could just get them come to Rolla and get on 72 and come,
they'll realize
they would
that,
find it a
okay.
very nice, enjoyable,
Right.
pretty drive
Right.
over
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
It's
and the
seems
other
shorter than it is.
Yeah.
Now they don't have to go through Rolla anymore, because right off the interstate is 72, and they
Right.
can actually take a 4-lane road there.
Yes.
All the way through Rolla, which that takes a lot of time away.
It does. It does.
Well, there's a bit of a bottleneck there from 63
Well-
out to the.
Well, I mean, there is, but at least
we
they
can
don't
never
have to
get that
on-
worked out.
But they don't have to get on 63 now to
Right.
get on
To
the
get onto
interstate.
it, yes.
Go up to the bypass and
Yeah.
come around,
Yeah.
or the west.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
72
that's a
extension.
definite plus for us that 72, the work was done, and that was completed. And so, in many ways, I think the other thing to keep in mind is we don't want to just recruit any company. As much as we want to provide a site, a location that's a good fit for them, they need to be a good fit for us.
for our community.
Yes.
Yes.
And so they need to understand fully who we are, what we are. We're not Rolla. We're not St. Louis. We're not going to ever be those. We're Salem. And we have some wonderfully unique assets. And so we're looking for the company that sees those and appreciates those. One of the things that has stuck in my head, and, I'm not saying that this is what we'll get, but again, thinking long game. The state, in some of the incentives that they offer, have opened up one that in recent years that specifically focuses on company headquarters. Okay, so we're not talking about, Coca-Cola or, some global company like that, but a smaller company that's looking for a place to be their headquarters, that'll be their hometown, and they can embrace the culture and, really kind of mature within that. I think that's a perfect fit for Salem.
Yep.
And I think Salem and Dent County would embrace that kind of company. So I think there's opportunities out there. So
All right, very good. Well, and part of one of those things that would make that even more attractive is to have high-speed internet.
Yes,
And that
yes.
is where we come right back to Sally again.
Yeah.
So it's like she has all the answers, Darrell. It's amazing.
if only.
Well, let me just back up one. We kind of keep talking about somebody coming in from outside, but we also want to have something in place that allows somebody here.
To
We have
grow.
we have bright young people.
Yes.
We
yeah.
have bright
Yes.
people in our community and entrepreneurs, people coming out who have an idea. Let's
Right.
have a place where they can develop that idea
Absolutely.
and build and expand on it and do it. I mean,
Yeah.
U.S. Foods over here was started by
Right.
our own homegrown folks, the Craig family.
Right.
Started, very small.
Yeah.
Out of his trunk.
Right. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You just never
and
know
grown
where
from
that's
here.
going to
So
come
let's,
from.
But let's be prepared
Right.
to have something to offer to help.
Right.
Whether homegrown here or somebody outside wants to come in and hire a whole
Right.
bunch of people from here.
And that's, that kind of goes back to what I mentioned earlier. The folks who will benefit the most and first are those of us who are already here.
Right.
And so, it's very likely that we will, and I talk with local folks. That's honestly the bulk of what I do, is talking with some of our local folks who, hey, I have an idea, or what do I need to do to get this started, or where do I go to find assistance, or, that's the bulk of what I do day to day. Is kind of directing, and that's not the stuff that makes huge headlines, but it builds our community.
Help them get over some hurdles that
Exactly.
are in the way.
Or help them
move.
understand, hey, there is a hurdle here.
Right, yes. No, see the hurdle first.
Yes, yes. And so that's as important as getting over it, is understanding
Yeah.
it's there, you know.
And you're absolutely right. And the thing that has so much different years ago, when you applied for license, it was mail it in, you wait, and then you get your license back. And if it was rejected, then they need this done, and you got to resubmit it.
Right.
You
And
wait,
now it's
now you
yeah.
do it online, and
Yes,
immediately
it's
tells
quick.
you need to fill
Yep.
this information in.
Yes.
And a lot of times you get numbers. But at the same time, though, Sally, sometimes people, they do things so rapidly that they don't really know what they've even submitted.
yes.
And then they
That's very true.
get what it is, and wait a minute, that's a wrong license.
Right.
I don't need that license, and
Yes.
there's some people need a sales tax license. Some people have to have a county license and
a
a
city
city
license,
license,
and
they don't realize that. So
And there's different types of
right,
even city licenses.
exactly, and you have added onto the website kind of like a frequently asked questions
Yes.
submission area that
Right.
what do I need,
Right.
or where can I find it?
Yes.
That's a big help. I went on there and looked at that. And I said, there's a lot of questions on
Yeah.
there you can get answered right here. This
There
is
is
pretty neat.
a lot of information on our website and a lot of information for businesses.
Well, I'm going to make a plug here. Sally, thank you for your work on the website.
Thank you.
We seemed
Thank
like
you.
we were kind of stuck in the mud for a while on getting a new website. And this is a joint city,
Yes.
county, Chamber of
Yes.
Commerce website. But
Yes.
you've done a tremendous job pulling that
Thank you.
together and getting that on to where this information we're talking about is available. And it's a very attractive website and
thank you.
a great opening for somebody to go to when they're looking, okay, what about Salem-Dent County?
Yes.
Hey,
Yes.
no,
it's-
thank you.
it's-
Thank you again. We
and-
thank her a lot for that.
Well,
but
I
not
appreciate
enough.
it.
She gets a lot. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It has been a lot of work, but it is, like you said, it's a portal. Somebody can go 24/7. You wake up at 2 a.m. Hey, I have this idea and I can't get it out of my head. What do I need? You can go start researching.
Well, if you're doing a
And
job
so-
right now and you have to work 9 to 5,
Right.
and you can't get
Right,
down to
into
City
the
Hall,
office,
you can't
yes.
get those. You don't have time to call during the day, and then afterward, you're sitting there at night after dinner, and you're thinking, I wonder.
Right.
Well, now you can go on the website and you can actually get some answers.
Yeah. There's, like I said, there's so much information on there.
Yep.
I feel like I'm updating something daily.
Oh, I'm sure you are.
It's
And
yeah.
things change daily
It-
as well.
yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I want to make sure that, if somebody's going on there looking for information to start a business, to help their existing business, and, whatever it is, that they have the most up-to-date stuff possible. And it's at their fingertips if they have the opportunity to get on there. So
And a
if
lot-
they have the opportunity to get on there.
If they have the opportunity.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. and
So
that's
that
when we go
leads
back
us
to
back
broadband.
to broadband, right? Yes.
There's a lot of things that lead us back to broadband.
There are, and we're pretty fortunate here within Salem that we have some pretty good access. We have some good service here in town, but you get out of town and not even very far out of town. And I mean, I live out of town, and it's been a struggle for me. To internet and when COVID first came on, and I went to working from home, and most days I could do okay, and then other days I just had to text my boss and say, I'm sorry, I got nothing. It's just, I'll work on what I can, but I can't reach out to the rest of the world at this point. So, so it does become a struggle, and it's a struggle for students who've, this new format for learning. It's a struggle for our educators. It just becomes a huge struggle. And then when we talk about businesses and growing our businesses and recruiting businesses, then that becomes another issue. We can provide a stellar, pristine certified site. Interestingly, that's one of the questions in the whole application.
Right.
What type and to what standard of internet can you provide at this location? And it's right there with water, sewer, gas, all of that.
anymore, yeah.
It's just as important. And so, it's something that we know we have to work on, and we've been working on. And so we've had, I don't know how many meetings at this point. And
you'll have a lot more.
we will.
before
Yes,
it's
we
all
will have
said
a
and done.
lot more. And and there's so many, funding sources at this time that it becomes very confusing. A lot of stuff almost daily coming down from the federal level about funding that's available. The state level as well. The state has a whole broadband commission and a specific staff person just to do that, just to focus on broadband. But Anyway, so we won't go into too many of those details, but some of the things that have been happening and we really want to highlight. And we've talked about this before, but it's important to get out. We don't need to stop at this point. One of the things that happens when we look at broadband and broadband coverage is that the best maps that have historically been available are the ones from the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission. And the way they have historically mapped out internet or broadband accessibility or coverage is that if even one home in a census tract has coverage, they show
covered.
that entire census tract is covered. Now, there might be 500 other homes or 1,000 or however many, but if only one has coverage or access to adequate broadband, they consider the entire tract covered. And we know here in Dent County, my neighbor who lives on the top of the ridge might have great access, and me down in the holler.
Well,
yeah,
that's a good. You're hollering.
that's right. That's right. You
why
got
they
your
call it
tin
a
can
holler.
on a string. Yeah. And so a way to get around that and to improve that mapping is to have our citizens, and so this is truly an ask at the grassroots level. We need the help of the folks who live here and who deal with this regularly to take a speed test. And that you can do it on your desktop at home or at work. You can do it on your cell phone, your tablet, whatever device you have that connects to the internet. You can take the speed test. And if at your home you don't have access at all, then when you get into range somewhere, take the speed test and enter your home address. And you can put in there no access. So some of them have that opportunity. You can type in no access. And so that way we can get those pinpoints where there's no service or where there's barely service. Yeah.
That'd be good if you had.
So what is that again, where they go? What?
Okay, so here we're going to go back to our website now.
Okay.
Okay. I did get this up on our website yesterday because
Okay.
prepping for today. So
Doing homework.
That's right.
Girls
I'm
does
getting
homework
ready.
all the time.
Because there's 2 or 3 different tests out there, and it becomes very hard to keep up with all of that data. So I thought, okay, let's create one point where folks can go, and it's right there. And so I'll probably be adding as time moves forward. But you can go back to our website, which is www.salemmo.com. Okay, and I'm going to walk through it on my cell phone here as we go, just to make sure I'm giving folks correct instructions, okay? Because it looks a little different on the desktop than it does on your mobile device,
Right.
okay? And so I want to make sure that folks understand how to get there. I've made it as simple as I can, but it's still, if you're not comfortable with technology and kind of doing this type of stuff, it can still be confusing. So start by going to the website and see, and here we go. This is where you have to be careful. It just took me to Salem, Massachusetts. So you have to make sure that you have Salem MO. No matter what your autocorrect tries to put in there for you. Salem MO, so SALEMMO.com. Okay, and that will take you to our website. The first page you'll see we call a splash page or the landing page. And on that page, if you're looking at it on a desktop, you'll have 3 boxes. And you can select to visit the county or the Chamber of Commerce or the City of Salem. If you're looking at it on a mobile device, you need to scroll down to the bottom of the page, and there's kind of a teal, blue-green band. And you'll see listed out in text, City of Salem, Dent County, Chamber of Commerce. Click on the name of one of those entities. For what we're doing today, it doesn't matter which one. Just pick any one, okay? It'll get you to the same place in the end. This website's all about scrolling, okay? When we were designing it, we had tourism and visitors in mind, so we wanted big, beautiful pictures, things like that. So it's all about scrolling. Every page you're going to have to scroll, okay? So that's, for me, I was like, oh, I hate scrolling for 3 miles, but it's about the scroll. So when you get to that next page, whether it's the city, the county, or the chamber, scroll down until you come to a little thing called news.
News.
Okay,
Says it. I
big
see
white
it.
letters, news. Okay, and so you may have any number of first pictures. There's a couple of arrows on either side, so you can click the arrows and move to the next story. I'm going to click the right arrow, and it takes me to internet speed tests.
Hey.
Okay,
I see it too.
yeah, it's pretty quick and
It's a
easy to
nice
get
orange.
there.
Got a nice orange background. You
Yes.
can't miss it.
Yep, and then yellow with kind of blue-green lettering, internet speed tests. And it says below it, take an internet speed test. Check your internet speed here and help us map real-time available speeds in Dent County. So you just click on the picture or the words, either one. And again, we come to a page, we scroll. And in big white letters says, take an internet speed test. And you scroll down, and there's a little bit of description with 2 links below. Okay? The first link is the Missouri Broadband Resource Rail Test. So this is a partnership between the state, the University of Missouri. I can't remember all of the entities.
Yeah.
There are multiple entities who've come together and put together this broadband rail. And they have a speed test there, so it's a way our state is capturing this data. This link will take you directly to the speed test itself, so you don't have to wade through their webpage. When you take the test, it will automatically map your location. Okay? So what that does is then when we send this data to the FCC, or when the state sends that data, we have exact pinpoints of where you're at and what kind of coverage you have, as opposed to one house has coverage, so everybody does.
So no matter where you are with your cell phone, it's
Yes.
pinging it from that location.
Correct.
So
Correct.
So if you were 19 south, 3 miles out of town, and you're on the side of the road, that's where it's going to show you.
Yes. Yes.
So the information on your speed test is automatically forwarded to who? Where
yes,
does it go?
when,
Where does it
when
go?
it maps
survey.
to the Missouri Broadband Rail,
Okay.
It will give the speeds, the upload and download speeds, and the address location.
Good. Good.
So that's the first one. Also on the same page right below it, there's the Delta Broadband Mapping Project. So we talked about the Delta Regional Authority earlier.
Well, we've just been going in circles.
We are.
Yeah.
We're going in all kinds of circles. Everything's related, right?
Yeah.
We don't even have 6 degrees of separation between things here. So, so the Delta Regional Authority is also doing a mapping project. And so, you might ask, well, which one should I take? Do both of them if you
Yep.
have the time.
Yeah.
Okay. And so they are mapping, and it does the same thing. You can, on theirs, you can enter your address and your information if you want. It's optional. You don't have to. And theirs is the one that has the option to say no access. So if you're somewhere else, because you don't have access at home, you can enter your home address and then click the no access. And then it'll map that address as having no access. So that's
But otherwise, you need to be at home as you're taking this test. You need to be at home.
you can be anywhere, but whatever address you type in,
That's what
Okay.
they'll
that's what
mark you down.
Right, correct.
Okay.
So that's something, that is something to keep in mind. And so they also then will test your upload and download speed, and then they'll automatically plot it on the map. And then for both of those, you have the option to go back and look at the map after you've tested. And so you can see not only yours, but you can see, how many other people have taken the test and where they're at and kind of what the area looks like. And so that's a kind of an interesting thing to play
Will
around
it
with.
show what speed services
It
they have
will.
at those locations
It
as
will.
well?
I think on the Missouri Broadband Rail, you have to kind of hover a cursor over. You might have to click it on your phone,
Yeah.
and it'll tell you what that point is. The Delta Regional speed test, you can go to each individual point, or they have a little stat box that pops up on the screen that tells you, like Dent County, when you hover your cursor over Dent County, last time I looked, we had like 49 tests had been done in Dent County. And it even tells you like who the service providers are that these tests were done on, and gives you some detail like that. So it's kind of interesting. I mean, it's to poke around and play with.
But especially if you have no access, you do need to get
Yes,
that indicated,
it's-
because otherwise, wherever your phone is and you take that test, on the
Right.
other test, that's where I guess they think that
Right.
that's where you're taking most of
They
your...
assume you're covered.
Yep, they
you
assume
have
you're
good
covered. So
access.
on this other one, definitely put no access, so
Right.
they can actually put that. And we
Right.
know in Dent County there are areas that there is absolutely no
Yes.
access.
Yes. Yeah.
There
We
are a lot
joke.
of national forests out there that are absolutely
Yes.
free from all Wi-Fi and
Yes.
cell coverage.
Yeah. Yeah, we joke at our house that we're both internet and cell phone challenged. So, and there are places in the county that is the case.
Yep,
And
no
so,
towers out there. There's
right.
no
And
access.
so it's important that we identify where these are. The other thing is if there's no data point, because nobody went and entered that address, then, from somebody at the federal level who's looking at this, they're going to assume that A, it's covered because, the one house is, or there's nobody who lives there.
Right. by
So-
default, there's like two different pieces of false information
Right,
that
exactly.
goes out about a spot.
That's right. And so it becomes really important that we raise our voices, so to speak, by taking these speed tests. And here's the other point that the Tim Arbeiter, the director of broadband development for the state of Missouri, stressed some time back. Don't just take it on your cell phone. If you have other devices, take the speed test on your tablet, on your desktop, on whatever device you
Laptop,
have.
wherever you might be.
Right. And take, like I said, both tests, and I'll try to get the FCC test up there soon too, so that folks have access to it. The reason to take the test on multiple devices, there are many factors that can affect the speed that this test will show.
Absolutely.
And the first one would be if you're at home and you have a desktop or even on your cell phone or tablet, and you're taking the test and the kids are in the next room streaming a game, and somebody's got the TV on and you're streaming Netflix, and all of those are pulling down that speed. And so then you run that speed test and it's going to go lower than what it will if you had everything else in the house shut off. So that's one piece. You want to try to take the test when everything else is down. Okay. But the other piece is sometimes the device limits. The device, the capabilities of that cell phone or tablet or desktop also limit the speed that comes through. Mm-hmm. And so take it on these different devices, and then what they'll see is they'll see a range of here's the speeds available here. And that helps them pinpoint what's the real, do you know what I mean? What's the reality of the speed that's available?
Well, there's a third one, too, if you haven't got that. And that is if you have a lot of people on that service, AT&T can shut your speed down to accommodate everybody, to make sure everybody still has internet, but you may not be going as fast as you can.
So different times of day.
Exactly. If you
Yes.
read your contract and it says it
Yeah.
right on the contract,
they'll reduce it down.
We can reduce the speed. And
Yeah.
well, okay, what is if I'm guaranteed a gig up and a gig down, and all of a sudden said we can take you down to 10 megabytes per second? 10?
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
That is another huge problem, though, because
but
a lot of
happens
people
all
can
the time.
take one during the day when nobody's at home anywhere.
Yeah, it's kind of like
along
the
line
concept
where
of the old
service
party
is.
telephone lines.
Exactly.
How many people can
Exactly
talk
so.
on the phone at once? Well, you get throttled down. Yeah.
Right.
And so there's that. The other piece, though, that
So isn't there some advantage of saying people not only take it
multiple
sometime
times.
when nobody's there, take it then sometime when you know it's that time when you really
That's true.
find that it's terrible.
Yes.
Take that test then and get
Absolutely.
that recorded what it is, because that's where it really emphasizes how poor
Absolutely. Yeah.
your service is.
Right. When you
we
might
ran
actually be on it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, the other piece of that about the throttling down your speed is if on the data plans on cell phones, if you've gone over you have so many gigabytes on your phone, and if you've gone over that, then that contract also says that they will reduce down your speed. Yeah. They won't shut you off. They'll just reduce your speed. And so lots of different things can affect that.
So if you ever want to see that happen, go to an area where there's a lot of people.
Yes.
I noticed happened out at the FFA auction this past year. Well, everything was just wonderful, and then all of a sudden about 75 people got on at one time and watched everything just drop off. Nobody could call, nobody could video, nobody could do anything.
Right.
But up until the auction, everything was great.
Fine.
Until everybody wants to get on there and start taking pictures of their loved ones and send them to grandma and grandpa and things of that nature. Well, when you're doing that, you're tying up the broadband for everybody.
Yeah. And then nobody gets to send grandma the picture.
Nobody gets it. That's right.
That's
and
right.
somebody said, "Well, I'll just tune in a hotspot and do that." Well, a hotspot based off of your broadband coverage only works so well as how much available data you can get through that power of that signal.
Right.
And when that signal goes down, you go down.
Yeah, and we could easily get lost in the weeds of technicalities of all of this, but I think the important piece is please go take that broadband test. Either of them, both of them, multiple devices. But if it's a struggle and you can only get it done once on one device, please do that. Just get the test done. Encourage your friends and family.
If we could get 500 or 1,000 locations out across the county recorded to go to the state, say, look, because it is a priority on a state and federal level both.
Yes.
Millions of dollars coming into the state.
Right. And if we don't have tests that prove that we don't have good access, we're not going to get the dollars. They'll go to the next county over
it's
who
all
does
who
have
can
it.
beat the drum the loudest.
That's
and without
right.
the test, our drum's pretty quiet.
That's right. Yes.
Yep, it's our drum.
It is. So definitely, please go. Like I said, the easiest way to get to the two that are up right now, go to our City County Chamber of Commerce website, and that's www.salemmo.com. Click any of the entities, city, chamber, county, doesn't matter. Once you get there, you scroll down the page till you get to the news feature. And then you can click the right or left arrow, keep going until you find the internet speed test. Click on that. I know it's a lot of clicks, but click on that, and then it gets you to the links to take the speed test.
Very good.
So, okay. So there's that.
And the more the merrier.
Absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely. Yes.
And again, if you don't have internet access even, don't skip taking the test.
No,
Get
please
someplace where you have cell service, do this very same thing,
Right.
and click to that spot, no
Right.
access.
You know, and
no
here's another
service.
thing. If you don't have service and you don't have a device, okay, so you're listening and you don't have one of these devices that can get, because we do have folks who don't have the smartphones, who don't want to
We
do
live
that.
where there's nothing there. Why would we have it? right?
Exactly. Why
Yeah.
bother? I can't use the service. Talk to your friends or your family who have access and tell them, hey, would you go do this for me and type in my address and click no access? I mean,
There you go. That'll work.
seriously,
Does the same.
that would be a way to, if you don't have access at all, let's get this documented.
Right.
It becomes really critical.
And another option for you is to go where they do offer free services
Yes.
like Salem Community Center, the Armory, and the
Yes.
library. They have computers you can use.
Yes.
You can go in there and they will assist you. Just ask them and they
Right.
will be more than happy to show you how to get to the
glad you
salemmo.com
mentioned that.
website.
Yes.
And they will show you how to scroll down and then you can actually type in your address. No
Yeah.
access.
Yes. Yeah. No, that's a great option.
Interestingly enough, in order to get information about how poor the internet access is,
We have to get on the
you
internet.
got to get on the internet to do
Yes. There's got to be
Isn't
some
that
irony
crazy?
there.
it. Talk about a conundrum.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Yeah, because you can't mail in the form. It's not.
Yeah.
Right.
And-
And in reality, I mean, there ought to be some through economic development, Mr. Arbeiter, something we need to mention. You know what? You need to just have an address that we can have people send you. Hey,
Right.
I have no internet access.
Right. That's
at
true.
this
That's
location
not a
right
bad
now.
idea.
Sitting
Yeah.
there forcing people to have to get on the internet to be able
Well,
to tell them we
now-
don't have internet service.
now didn't-
That's a little bit.
And Steele, if I might add, did Steelville Telephone send out a card to those that they
Yep,
identified
they
as
done.
not
They did.
having
sent out a
access
mailer.
They did.
to see if they'd be
Yes.
interested in it?
Yes.
Internet service
so-
providers are really kind of going down that
So
line
if
a
they
little
were
bit,
able to
figuring.
find them, why can't the FC?
We'll have to make that suggestion.
Yeah.
Or
the
maybe
line.
get the list from them and send it off and say, hey, let's go check these areas.
Right.
You with a device. I mean, they can do it.
Right.
It's not that hard to do.
And who knows? They may do that. I mean, like I say, I know there's a big push, and one of the things that is to get better information about where the access
Yes,
service
yes.
is and not. So
Yes.
we'll have to mention that to them. If you really want to get that information, you might want to get some
Yeah.
questions out to people who have none in the
Right.
form of good old U.S. Postal Service.
That's right. Yeah. It's one
That's
thing
why
to reach the
to
people
be
who already
honest,
have
because
access.
I've had this gripe on different things, of people would say, and my internet service has been terrible, and I say, we sent you an email, and I go, you know what, the U.S. Post Office truck goes by my house every single day,
Right.
but the internet service doesn't always work.
Right.
Now, if you're going to say, and generally it's a government deal, it said, well, we're going to send this, and I
Yes.
said, well, if the government's going to say we're only going to conduct business with you via internet, then doggone it, government, make darn sure you're providing me internet service.
Right. Yeah.
Come on. So I tell people all the time, if you do send me an email that you desperately want me to see today,
Yeah.
you might want to shoot me a text.
I know if
as
I
well.
need if I need a response and make sure you see it, I text you. I'm like, yeah, I know better. Yeah.
Well,
And there's areas that won't
Well,
work
I know,
either
I
until
know,
you
I
get
know.
back into
Yes.
service and all of a
That's
sudden
right.
the phone lights up like a Christmas tree.
Yes.
And it can do that.
somewhere along the line, I'll get that message that way.
Gotcha. Yeah. You're liable to get back in cell service sooner than your internet will come back up.
Sometimes.
Yeah. No
So,
doubt about
anyway.
it.
Anyway, that's
Yeah.
one area you're working hard on, and
Right.
we hope people will pay attention to this,
Absolutely.
and we can get
Absolutely.
any more we get, that'll be a plus.
Yeah. So while have everybody, looking at the website, I want to talk about one other thing that right now is going on, and there's a deadline for it, and that's February 15th.
Yeah. Be here before you know it.
Yeah, it will. It's coming quick. So the state of Missouri offers tax credits for substantial, and there are definitions, again, on the website, online.
Yeah,
Right?
what is substantial?
Yes. So there are definitions for that. Substantial rehabilitation of homes or new construction. So these are specifically for single-family homes. So not, apartment complexes and duplexes and things. So single-family intent to be ownership. So not rentals. So this is a very, very specific category. So they're offering tax credits, and they can be up to 35% of the cost of the rehab or the construction. It is open to both individuals who are building or doing, having their remodel, as well as contractors, so long as the intent is to sell it as a single-family home.
Okay.
So, up to 35% of the cost can be a pretty good chunk.
It's a nice chunk, especially the cost of materials now.
Yes. And so you have to apply for them. It's not just a given. And so that is also on our website. Okay, you can go to that same news feature that you went to for the internet speed test. And as you are clicking kind of through the different articles, that is one of them. And it's got the little house, looks like it's under construction. And if you click through that information, it will take you to the Economic Development webpage that has all the details. Okay. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. So we were talking about the speed tests, and KSMO Radio, Your World Today, has shared that information on their Facebook page, so you can check it out there as well. Wonderful. Thank
Great.
you. Yes.
Thank you. Yes.
Much appreciated. Okay, housing credits.
Yeah, back to housing
Where
credits.
were we? That little side note. But so they have the information there. You do have to apply. Applications have to be in by end of day February 15th. Okay, and then they, assuming everything's correct and good on your application, they select by lottery. So it's a drawing.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and so it's not a guaranteed. But again, that's, if you were selected, that could be a great way to help offset some of that cost, take advantage, lower your tax bill. And everybody's thinking about taxes this time of year, so it's, something definitely worth checking out.
Okay, so I have a couple questions. All right,
Okay.
so this obviously
I may or
is
may
for-
not be able to answer.
Yeah, well, obviously, substantial is always the big word
Yes,
here.
it
Anyway,
is.
but is this for just new construction, upcoming construction, or something that's just been done? Because how are you going to know the cost of materials? Because you know as well as I do, they change daily.
One of the requirements is they want to see what your plan is for the construction. So new construction, that's pretty easy. A lot of us who are doing remodel, we may not have a plan. If you're hiring a contractor, though, which is going to fall probably more into the substantial rehab, they're going to want to see what the plans are and what those estimated costs are. Now, one of the things that it does, at least it has, unless they've made a change from last year to this year, because they do lend this out every year, beginning of January through middle of February. So that's another thing to keep in mind. It will go back 1 year. So if you get approved, okay, and they don't notify folks who gets drawn until, I think, June of each year. So you have to apply January, February. You get notified in June if you get it. But it'll go back the previous year, so costs you incurred there. And I believe it goes forward for 5 years. So
Well, that's better.
that's yes, that's a much better. And they do have, like I said, they do have caps also on how much. So up to 35%, but there's also a dollar cap limit. And I can't quote those off the top of my head. That is all available on their website, though.
Right. I'm sure there's certain things that they'll cap off.
Right.
Wood,
Yes.
concrete.
And the
And
other,
again, that website address.
well,
you
go
say their
to
website.
our website, the www.salemo.com. Click any
Very good.
entity, scroll down to the news feature, and then click through there till you get it, and it'll be a house under construction. Click on that. There might be one more click, and it takes you straight to their website. So you can get there from our website. Is the
You'll
easy way.
probably have a link in there.
Yeah, and that's
on
what it
the
is.
news,
That'll
so,
be, yeah.
click
And
on
And what
that.
is,
click on it.
just as we're going along here, what is your contact information if somebody'd have a question? Just say, Sally, I was wanting to get to that. I was having trouble. How do I get this information? What's a good contact information
Okay,
for somebody to call?
so my I'm out next week, but normally my
Yeah, we know.
office phone
Yeah.
is 729-2428, and that is my direct office line. So you don't have to go through the city, kind of, pick a department kind of thing. So
Most
729.
of this information is on the website.
Yes.
Just scroll through, follow the
Right.
links.
But if you're having any
you'll get
issues
there.
or questions, please reach out. So 729-2428. And my email address is economic@salemmo.com. So that's ECONOMIC at SALEMMO.com. economic@salemmo.com. So that would be my email address. And then that contact info is also on the website. So, and if you ever want to look at what else I've got up on the website, you go to the salemmo.com, scroll to the bottom, and click on site selection. I know that maybe sounds a little weird, and people are like, well, why is it called that? Because if you're a business not from here, and you're trying to identify the site for your new location, site selection. So that will take you to my economic development pages and all the business information, and there's probably more there. You could spend hours going through what all is available.
There's a lot of data.
There's a lot of data, yes.
But a lot of that is data that businesses or somebody interested in a business wants to know.
Correct. So we have everything from available sites. So we do have that with a map feature. So available sites, available buildings are on there. We have labor force data, wage and labor force data is on there. So if you want to know what the average wage for Dent County is, if you want to look up by a type of a position and see what the average wages in our region is, there's links to all of that data in there. There's the unemployment data is on there. Trying to think. I still have to flesh it out. There's also a transportation section that talks about not just things like what highways do we have and stuff, but airports and proximities and the nearest port. If we're talking about a manufacturer, that's going to be important to them. How far is it to the Port of St. Louis? What about the Port of New Orleans? I mean, that's like 9 hours away.
What about the Port of Memphis?
Yes, I mean, so we have. I may not have Memphis on there yet, but
Well, actually, they've developed a great port, even over at Cape Girardeau.
Right. Yes.
They've developed. I mean,
Right.
there's a lot of points along the.
There are
river
along the
there.
Mississippi to get
Yeah,
and so there's a lot of that type of data available if you're looking at Salem and Dent County, or if you just need to know, hey, I've got something I'm selling, I need to figure out how to ship it out, and this type of information is always changing and being updated. So. If you don't see something today, you're welcome to call or email me and ask about it. And then as things change, I'm updating all the time. So, but there's a lot of data there, so definitely go there and check it out.
So one thing I want to, and I know Darrell's got a question here, but one thing I want to tell people, especially if you're in business out there, and a lot of people always think that sometimes they get lost. They don't know what to do. Things are changing. Obviously, we've seen so many changes with COVID and different things of that nature. If you're in a business and you're struggling and all of a sudden maybe you don't think you have any answers to something, call Sally. Because a new, fresh set of eyes on something that's staring you right in the face might just be the wake-up call you need, and she can make a few suggestions or get you in touch with people who can help you and answer questions.
And I think that's the key point there. I don't have every answer, but I can usually figure out where to refer you to somebody who has that answer.
Facilitating is a lot.
Yes, it's a lot of what I do.
Yeah.
And there's still a lot of transition going on.
There is a lot of changes every day, and I get tons of information every day about recent changes that are happening and that will affect our businesses. So it becomes critical. Yeah, please give me a call. I'd love to visit with you. I'd love to get to know you, know more about your business and what you're doing or what you want to do. And I can certainly direct you to different resources.
Or even for that matter, if somebody's thinking about putting in a business, somebody else has talked to you about a business that you would think is really kind of unrelated, but in a strange way, the two kind of complement one another.
Right.
And if they realize, then one realizes the other is. I mean, there can be some
Right, some
coordination,
synergy
wait a
and,
second.
yeah,
if you're going
things
to do
that
that,
happen.
then this works better for us too.
Yeah.
A lot of what, and also, if it's a chance to do this, you work with. And work with. I mean, we got Rolla's is a lot of economic driver. Is it Dale Martin that's with the Economic Development?
Yes, the Rolla Economic Consortium.
Yeah, over there in Phelps County,
Rolla
and
Regional.
of course, and they recognize, of course, just even like the distribution center, a lot of stuff going on over there people live here, drive over there. Again,
Yes.
a better highway, better access. That's why we work to at least get better shoulders and widening and some things on
Yes.
68 between here and St. James, and they recognize, that they need our workforce
Yes.
to help make a deal work for them.
Yes.
But it isn't only there. You've been working on also a little bit of regional work just from the counties south of us, because
Yes.
sometimes what we do fits with, say,
Absolutely.
Shannon or Reynolds or Texas on there. So if you would kind of share a little bit about kind of what's going on there and
Okay.
work, because there's a lot to offer again in this whole region, that if somebody would locate, it would be a benefit to everybody.
Yes, absolutely. And that's something that I think is critically important, and it's also something that at the federal level, more and more of the like the Economic Development Administration at the federal level, they are looking at things more on a regional scale.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't want to know. Okay, oh great, you're doing that in Denton County. What else is going on? So we don't want to invest in just this thing in Denton County, this one certified site. We want to know, as a region, how does this impact? What are we doing? And so it becomes important to make sure that we're talking with our neighbors. And so, that's something that I've been kind of working on with different folks. That's the thing. We all know, they call it the Great Resignation, right? We've had lots of changes in different positions around the area. And so I've been trying to reach out and have been in conversations multiple times. This is probably 2 years that I've been trying to meet with and visiting. And it's not just me pushing. I mean, some of the other folks in the equivalent of my position in the other counties and neighboring communities get it. They understand we're better as a region. None of us are, a world unto ourselves. And so, like you said, Commissioner, we share workforces. We share so many traits that it just makes sense to partner when we can. And so we've had meetings in Houston where we pull folks in. We've pulled folks in from Fort Leonard Wood to talk about, that's an untapped largely, and that's why they came and talked to us. And I've had them here for a business at breakfast event to talk to our community about veterans who are retiring. Veterans, retirees from the military, they're in Fort Leonard Wood, but those that are looking at retiring in the area, that's a great labor pool of experienced, trained folks that, it is a great resource. But that's one example. And if we start looking regionally and to the south of us,
And see, Dent County, we're part of the Merrimack Regional Planning,
right.
but we're on the very south, kind of the
Southern
southeast
tip of it,
corner
yes.
of that region, and the counties south of us, Shannon County, Reynolds, and all them,
They're
where
in a
Shannon County is
different-
part of the SCOCOG, the southern deal.
Right,
So they're
right.
on the northern part of their deal. So there's really nobody really working to try to help water some
Right.
things going on to coordinate.
Right.
Ours, we're all kind of a unique region of our own.
Right.
We're not enough that we can really form our own separate planning commission.
Right, planning
such
commission,
deal.
right.
It works pretty good like it is, but some work you're doing, I think, can really complement both of those.
Right.
And I compliment you for that work on that,
thank
because
you.
those you're probably the main driver in those three county areas.
At
kind
this
of pushing
point,
on that. But
yeah.
you're getting some good interest and support.
I am. There are some folks who are definitely on board with this idea of let's work together regionally, and they're ones that certain emails and information I send out, like the tax credits for the houses and different stuff like that, I send to them too, in the other counties. Now, granted, that's not my technical scope, but I get that if I can help them, elevate in some way, whether that's helping their folks have more to invest in a business, helping a business there. Here's the thing. If a business locates right across the county line, we still benefit.
Absolutely.
That's right.
It's not a loss for us. I'd rather they locate here, and I'll do whatever I can to get them here.
Right.
But I'm not going to just say, well, I can't help you if they decide to go right across the county line,
Right.
because that's still jobs for our folks who live here. And, it's jobs for our entire region. And it becomes critically important that we are working together. I know we've had some meetings specifically talking about broadband. We've had some meetings just, kind of introducing the concept to some of our area folks, and we've had a couple at Echo Bluff, we've had some at Houston, kind of different areas. We need to probably get another one scheduled here soon. But just pulling folks together, making sure that they understand why it's so important that we're working regionally. if one of us has an issue with labor force, I guarantee the neighbor has an issue with labor force. And just like we talked about, the distribution center in St. James, the egg carton factory, Doe Run, which is not in Dent County,
Right.
but huge employer for us. And that's I'll go back to the website for a second. That's one of the things that I have identified on there is our top employers for Dent County. So that's not just those that are located here, but I'm looking for the top employers of Dent County.
People, yeah.
Yeah, and so we have several that are kind of surprising on that top 10 list and not in the county. And so, but that just goes to show how interconnected we are and how important it is to show that support. I've had good response from Eminence. They're definitely interested in partnering with us on anything that comes up that makes sense. Now, it doesn't mean we partner on everything. It's got to make sense for both parties, or however many.
And then going back to that region area, we talk about these internet speed tests. If you are living in Shannon County or Texas County or Reynolds County or Iron County, and you're hearing us talking, or Crawford County, take the test.
Yes,
go to
please.
Salem Mo, take the test. You don't have to live in Dent County to go to salemmo.com.
Right.
Take the test, and then that way, if they're going to be running a hardwired fiber down 19,
then your
and
county
you're
and
in
your
it,
residents
you know,
is
you would
represented.
like to be part of that. So if you're living a mile south of Dent County in Shannon County, go ahead and take
Yes.
that test.
You bet.
You're probably not going to get on from your house, but I mean,
you don't have
might,
access,
you
but-
might, but you know, I mean,
Right.
Come on up to town here, and you
Yeah.
can sit here at
That's
one of
right.
our
Or
restaurants.
going down
and
to
you-
Echo Bluff
you can
and,
go-
and
So we don't
access
check
it
for
there.
proof of residency.
No,
so
That's
but,
right.
But
We
the
welcome
idea
you.
is just what Sally's
Yeah.
saying. It's regional.
Yes.
What benefits one of these counties is going to benefit the other.
Right. Well, and that's a point too on that credit for rehab or construction of housing. That's a statewide tax credit, so it doesn't matter where you live. Now there are some restrictions. Here in Salem, we were identified as a what did they call it? A distressed community. So anyone inside city Salem limits automatically qualifies. Okay. Now, as long as you pass through all the other hoops. Now, in Dent County, though, there are many, and they do it by census tract. But I believe, if not all, where almost all of Dent County qualifies. And they have a way on there you can go and find your census tract and then compare it to the list. But it's statewide. So we know, because we live in the region, that many of our neighboring counties
Same
have this
situation.
similar situation. And so that tax credit's available for anybody to look up and apply for. So that's, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a resource that it doesn't matter if you're in Dent County
right.
or not. Go ahead and take a look at it. Speed test, the neighborhood assistance credits,
Right.
do those things
Yeah.
because, find out all the information you can because it can only help you. What harm does it do to submit
Right.
if somebody may give you 35% or 25% or 20%?
And even if the answer's no, you're no worse off. You spend a little time and you learn some about something that could be available.
Well, maybe
so.
no this year, but maybe next year
There
you've
you
got
go.
another
There you
project and you want to do.
But back to the regional concept, the real push, other than just how interconnected we are, the real push behind a regional concept for me is, okay, so labor force. Are there opportunities for us as a region? I know there are. We just have to find the right one. If we applied here in Dent County for a grant to help develop our workforce for a particular skill set, okay, we could probably be successful in getting something. But if we applied as a region, then we're impacting not just those right here in Dent County, but our larger workforce. And it elevates all of our communities. And so to partner on such an application makes a whole lot of sense. Now, that's workforce. We could potentially, now this is thinking really big, but, we could potentially apply for, we put all of our ducks together in one thing, and we could respond to some of these solicitations that come from the state for some of these larger companies. Now, that might sound like pie in the sky, but again, it's got to be the right company. But, if we start talking about what assets do we have as a region, well, just here in Salem, we don't have a community college. We have SBU, but not a community college, and that's something that a lot of these requests are looking for. Do you have a community college to help with our workforce? As a region, we do. As a region, we've got community colleges, and we have rail access, and we have, all of these things that are these check boxes we have as a region. And because we know we share a regional workforce, then even if it doesn't locate right here in the middle of Salem, it's going to benefit our citizens. And so that's to me, that's the big idea, the real reason to push toward this regional concept. There are smaller wins we can have, but there's always that that goal, that carrot, so to speak, of what could we be if we were really
Those
working
industries
together.
and things, they're going to look when they're
Yes.
looking locate, knowing that the particular county it's in probably can't supply every bit
Yes.
of the workforce. They're going to look at a radius around it of 50 miles. How many
Right.
potential would there be, or at least for potential that would be trainable or could be trained, and where could that training be done?
Right.
And updated training and all of those things. All of it all fits together.
It does.
They don't care whether they all come
They
from
don't, and
from
they
this
don't
county or that
recognize county and city boundaries. They don't care about
They're
it.
thinking regionally in their own terms.
Yes, and that goes back reflected in that top employers list. That's not just who's the business is located in Denton County. That's who's employing Denton County. And when you look at that, we've got Rolla and we've got St. James, and we have all these in the surrounding area, which also gives a potential business. They're saying, oh, okay, these folks will travel this far, so that means I've got this labor pool to look at, not just Salem and Denton County.
Years ago, the Chrysler plant used to have a lot of people from Denton County, and that's 2
Sure.
hours up, 2 hours
Right.
back.
Right.
The GM plant in
GM
St.
plant
Louis is
Yeah.
is
up in
always
Wentzville had well, that's
Right.
3 hours. So,
Right.
People have driven a long way to go
Yes.
to work, and I know some people still work in St. Louis, and
Right.
and they drive every day.
We've had
Yeah.
people drive to St. Louis every day that
Right.
union carpenter work.
Yeah.
My
Right.
dad was a union carpenter for years, and
Yeah.
worked
Well,
in
and
St.
Quaker
Louis.
Windows when
Yeah,
they first
Quaker
opened.
Windows.
That's
Absolutely.
another example. So
and still,
right,
sure.
we don't have a large number at this
I know,
point,
but it's still a viable option.
exactly. And so that's that's one of those things to keep in mind. But again, that's looking regionally. What assets do we have out there, and how mobile is our workforce? And so those are all factors that play in. So
Very
so
good.
anyway.
I'm out of questions. And you should be
Stands
out
out of
You've been here for
questions.
an hour plus.
You've heard it first here, folks, today. Stands
There
out
you
of
go.
questions.
I'm out of questions. I'm out of questions for Sally.
Oh, okay. Uh-oh. Now I'm about to get it, I'm afraid. Anything else, Sally? I do appreciate you being here. And
Oh,
I
absolutely.
hope folks listening today get an idea why the county and the city and the IDA board collectively felt this was an important position to fill. And we felt you were a perfect match for it. And I really appreciate
you.
your efforts and stuff. But again, if folks have an idea or a question or whatever, why
Yeah, please
you're
reach
pretty
out.
accessible.
Should I give
Yeah.
my
Once in a
contact
while,
info
you might
again?
take a week off to
Well,
catch your
occasionally.
breath to do something or leave
I'm
or
not sure it's totally a week off.
right. If you're in class, yeah, it's probably not a week off. But
yeah.
again,
well, that's right. You got your ID, your
right.
DRA.
the leadership, yeah. So again, if anyone does want to reach out to me, feel free. My direct office line is 729-2428, and my email address is economic@salemmo.com. And so I can be reached at those, and like I said, happy to answer questions. I truly want to hear what you've got planned and what you're doing, what you're thinking. That gives me an opportunity to connect you with resources, and and sometimes you never know, there might be somebody else who's thinking the same thing, and or something similar or complementary, and I can connect you, and you've got something even better to go off of. You just never know. I really think one of the key things is just communicating. Reach out, find out what else is out there, what's available. Like I said, we have a ton of resources, even that you can access on our website, assuming you can get on there on the internet. But even if you can't, then please reach out, or you find something on there you don't understand or you want more information about. There's just a wide range of opportunities. We just a lot of folks don't know how to access them.
Right, and people who had businesses for years, when they start thinking about looking at these different resources, Sally, they get overwhelmed.
Absolutely.
And then they tend to give up because, I don't even know what direction to go. And that's why you call Sally.
Right.
She can narrow that scope down and say, why don't you try calling this person and contact them
Right.
first. And if they can't help you, they're going to know somebody who can.
Right. And oftentimes I can, if you'll explain to me what it is you're doing or wanting to do, I can kind of help you with that. I may not know all the details of every program, but I can kind of look and say, oh, you know what, this one isn't going to fit because of this. Do you know what I mean? And so kind of help part the waters and kind of help you figure out which ones
Eliminates some of those options.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not so overwhelming.
So if you get
it's-
overwhelmed, call Sally.
Yeah, just no matter what.
If she doesn't if she doesn't answer, go fishing. When you get back, then call Sally.
yeah,
again.
call Sally again.
Okay.
Leave
There's
a
the
message.
antidote.
there
for
you go.
overwhelm.
That's
but-
right. Go fishing. I think
but-
that's a good one.
Yeah.
And we got that right here.
That's right.
So
we have
see?
it right here in Dent County.
We're ahead of the
I know.
game.
But a lot of times, if you go to Secretary of State's website,
Oh,
you
yes.
just get lost,
Yes.
and and they don't. That's not a very descriptive website. You just don't. You just can't go and look at it and say, and even if you type into the search bar what you want, it doesn't show up.
Right.
And I thought, wait a minute, this doesn't even make any sense. And when the state does change some rules, they don't usually let people know. And then you go looking for it on there,
Right.
or maybe the bank has requested you go find something on there,
Right.
and you can't find it.
Right.
Well, sometimes the banks aren't even up to date on the new state rules,
Right.
and they've changed things over the years. So, all I'm going to say is this. I mean, sometimes you think it's easy. I've done that before. I've gone on there, got it, and it's not there anymore. Why not? They
Yes.
changed that rule.
Yes.
And so they don't offer that anymore. Well, why don't they offer it anymore? Because I need it. My bank's asking for it. Well, they're not up to date either.
Right.
And yes, maybe last year it was still good. This year, it's
Right.
not. So,
Well, and it's not just, unfortunately, it's not just that website.
No, I know. There's a
Department of
bunch.
Economic Development is not a whole lot better at the
No.
state level.
there's a lot of information on them.
There is.
And you
Right.
can find a lot of great things. But if you're looking for something specific,
Yes.
very hard to find.
Yeah,
And
sometimes you need the guided tour.
so sometimes when you run into that, don't let it bog you down. You may get a hold of Sally, and she can say, "Look, here's a number. You call this person, or try looking here." And
Right.
maybe she's encountered it before with somebody
Maybe.
else, and then she can say, "No, that's under this section. Shouldn't be there, but it
this is where it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of, like I said, lots of opportunities to connect folks with resources and information. And that's really big part of what I do every
It
day.
is.
So
Well, and we thank you for that.
I appreciate
Very
it.
good. Again, congratulations on
Thank
your
you.
education next week. I hope you get through it, and I hope no hurricanes come through. I think the weather is actually supposed to be fairly nice next week.
Yes.
So
yeah,
you
it's supposed to
should
be upper 50s, lower 60s down in New Orleans.
So, I
that's-
think it's not going to be bad.
right. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I've never
So go
been.
down and enjoy it, but hurry back.
Yeah.
Hurry back. Okay.
We need you.
Okay.
very
I'll
good.
come back and my phone will be full of messages.
It will be. It'll take you a good better part of a day or more. Just to,
And again,
That's
we want to
okay.
remind everybody, take those speed tests. You can
Yes.
take them salemmo.com. They also right now are on our KSMO Facebook page
Yes.
and Your World Today Facebook page. Go on in there and just take the speed test. It costs you nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And the more the merrier. We need as many speed tests as possible. If you've already taken it once before, take it again.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they change your speeds.
Yes. Sometimes they change something in their system. The provider does. And so, yeah.
approximately how long would you estimate it takes for a person to take the speed test?
You know what? If you have
No, but
really, really slow internet, like I've had at my house,
Yeah. Right.
it's anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute. It's not
That's
a
all?
huge.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
it's
And that's
not
if you have
good.
really slow internet. If you've
Wow.
got good,
Just bang,
it'll
bang,
just
bang, and it's
yeah,
done.
a few seconds and it's
Yeah.
done.
Okay.
And it'll tell you, and I realize maybe not everybody understands that, but it'll tell you what your download speed is.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're pulling stuff off the internet, downloading it to your computer, your device, whatever, it'll tell you what that speed is as well as what your upload. So if you're sending something out,
Like a picture.
yes, yes,
And
it'll
it may
tell you
take
what that
forever.
speed is. Right, and that's
Yeah.
usually much slower than your
Yeah.
download, but
Right.
but it'll tell you both speeds.
Great.
So
Great.
yeah. But anyway, yes, thank you, gentlemen. I greatly
you.
appreciate the opportunity.
Well, we went over a lot of stuff.
Oh.
An hour and 20 minutes worth.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Boy, time flies when you're having fun.
Well, it was very, very informative. And we hope a lot of people got the information they need, or maybe have found out something they didn't know, or got some explanation about certified site, or even about the credits that are available coming up. So check into all that. And if you miss something, remember Sally's going to be doing a little education next week, but she will be back following week. And, if you can hold off until then. But again, salemmo.com has a lot of answers. And as Sally said, that site selection has a lot of data. You want to go check stuff out, it's all there. And under the FAQs as well.
Right.
How do I?
Yes, yes, please check it out.
Check it out. Very good. Thank you, Sally.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. You can
Thank
leave
you.
now if you wish.
Okay, I do have other things I gotta go
Yeah,
do.
you
so
said you had a lot of errands to run.
Yes.
Couldn't get around too much yesterday.
Thank you, gentlemen. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Really appreciate it. Thank you,
Look forward
Sally.
to
Thanks for
next
coming
time.
in.
All right.
You bet.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Well, Darrell, we're out of time. Thanks for the time.
Yep.
Well, I can honestly say, and that was time well worth investing.
Yeah, I think so. Yep, do appreciate Sally coming in. I'll make a couple of quick things.
Sure.
I want to mention, of course, right now, the county commission, we're right in the middle of budget. And by statute, we can't pay any bills until we get a budget approved. And there's a process you have to go through that. Days you have to have the budget document. So we're working on the budget document. We'll have a hearing on the budget, the new budget, on Thursday, January the 27th at 10 a.m. Once we get that budget approved, then we will pay bills. We'll catch up. But always like to, because we pay bills once or twice a week. I mean, at least once a week we generally always are paying bills. So, because we like to keep our folks paid. So anyway, this is an every year deal, and by statute, all we can pay in January is the payroll.
And
Keep
the
that up.
preliminary budget or I will say
Tentative budget.
tentative budget,
Uh-huh.
yeah, would be available the afternoon of the 14th, I believe.
Right, I think so. I
Correct.
think that's it.
You know, so you can get that in the clerk's office if you're interested in finding out more about that.
Something like that,
But that'll be in the 14th. You can just call the clerk's office and double check with them as when that.
I don't know about that date. I think it has to be available 10 days prior to the budget
I
hearing.
think that is 10 days. That's what
The budget hearing's the 27th, so
I think that's 10 working days.
Anyway, it'll be available.
Friday
We
through
got
Friday
figured out.
through Thursday. That would be 10 days.
That information will get out there. So anyway, we are working on that budget, talking to the office holders about their budget requests and things. And I would mention one of the things we had in our budget this past year, $300,000 or so for capital expense for general revenue. Basically, most of that earmarked to try to get some work done on the old courthouse, the building itself. It's just turned into what the first thing we did actually was we hired Anderson and Associates Engineering out of Rolla to do a total overview of the old courthouse and give us we've got a pretty good sized book of all the things that it needs, and it needs a lot of work, and we're gonna take care of it. It's a beautiful old building. It's kind of the pride and joy of our county, really. And it's a landmark, and we're gonna get it fixed up. Corky Stack, then an associates engineering firm out of St. James. We've engaged them now to go through that assessment that we had done and start coming up with ideas and plans that we can start getting it out for bid. We need to replace all the windows on the third floor. We got a lot of the old woodwork that either needs to be totally redone, replaced, renovated. Just a lot of work, and it's a lot of that's intricate and work and things. So, and it's going to be an expensive process. He's looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of $500,000 to $750,000 or $800,000. It's going to take to do that. So we're going to set money aside there and get to work on that. You know, work on the jail and things kind of dominated our thoughts and stuff here for a couple of years. And actually, until we got an engineer into where they could actually get up on top of the building and get up there with a big lift going all the way around it and pointing out some more things that they could see that were deteriorating, and we're going to get it. We need to get it done, and I think it'll be folks will be very proud of it, and we'll be proud of and get it done. One of the last things we'll do, our old Christmas lights are a challenge every year, even to get them to keep working. You know, Stan, them lights have been up there a long time.
Long time.
And,
Those wires are brittle.
So we spend quite a bit every fall just so that they'll be on and work through the Christmas season. They were about to quit on us here before we shut them off the other day. So that's it. There's no use trying to put them on though until all the various other exterior work is done.
That's
So
right.
anyway, that's it. Collector Shannon Van Kirk wanted me to share and I think you all kind of probably already put it out, that her office today actually will close at 3:30 because they're going to be having to update the office server. So it's just going to be closed at 3:30 today until the courthouse closes. They'll be working on that, and then Monday they'll be back open for business as usual. And then, of course, with the weather we've had, the road and bridge crews have been spreading sand and salt on the slick spots, and particularly the chip and seal roads.
Sure.
Not enough snow really for the plows to remove on the roads, but they've been working on those. And,
Unfortunately, though, there might be some melting and refreezing for
Right.
our next week. We're talking about some cold temperatures Monday morning, and it depends on the rain that we get Saturday, if
That's
it melts
right.
off the snow
And,
or if it just adds to the problem when
Right.
it puddles up.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of an interesting 3 or 4 days here. Otherwise, next week looks pretty good.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, after Monday looks great.
yeah. So anyway, that's kind of the main things I wanted to mention this morning. I did want to mention too, though, for those various election authorities, the final date for election certification for the April election is coming up for the local jurisdictions, and that'll be January 25th, 5 p.m. Those whatever elections things that they want want to hold, that information would have to be to the county clerk by January 25th at 5 p.m. So folks just keep that in mind.
Well, Darrell, I also want to let people know Kurt Fago was in with a 100-acre wood rally.
It's
I'm
gonna
sure they
happen.
heard possibly about Crawford County not wanting to participate this year in that, but there is still going to be a 100-acre wood rally.
It will still be here. It'll be back, and actually they're planning on going ahead and doing the 4th Street expose, where all the drivers and their crews and people line up and down 4th Street on Saturday morning, and look forward to that, because that's always a big event.
Oh, that's
people
neat.
really enjoy it, and
Yeah.
that will be coming up.
It's in March.
I don't have that. Yeah, March. Let's find the calendar and find out. March, I want to say 18th and 19th.
I think that's
March 18th and 19th.
Yep.
March 18th and 19th.
Yep.
So, be thinking
okay,
about
but
that.
I want to
coming
let
up,
people
so.
know that because they may have seen or heard about, hey, the 100-acre wood rally is not going to be back in Crawford County, thinking that's not going to be the case in Dent County. It's coming back.
Right. So that kind of catches us up. We've had a good time here this morning, and I do appreciate Sally coming in and updating us, because that's an important work that she's doing, and really appreciate the cities making that an emphasis and working with the county and IDA board to get that position filled here about 3 years ago.
It's a tireless challenge to keep up to date on all the programs that become available, and I'm amazed at how much she can do.
But she
as
is a great resource.
As a one-person team.
Yeah. Yep.
But she does a tremendous job,
Yes.
actually. She
Yep.
really does a good job, and I enjoy sometimes when I'm up that way, if I get a chance to stop in and just take 5 minutes of her time, just try and update her on whatever I hear, and just so she's aware. Sometimes we hear stuff, sometimes she hears stuff. I just touch base. That's it.
Yep.
It's amazing in 5 minutes what you can find out.
Yep. That's
It
right.
really is. And people keep their eyes open. And Sally works very closely with the IDA board, and the county commission as well as the city. So it's not like they're way out here and they do different things. And she's in constant communication with them.
She has a finger on the pulse of about everything that's going on.
Yeah, she does.
And because it all somehow or another ends up coming back to impact economic development. So,
Sure does. Well, we want to thank Darrell for coming in. Another year we're starting here today,
New year.
my friend. Another year. And we do thank everybody for listening in. We've had people streaming with us. We do appreciate that. We thank Sally Burbridge for being our special guest today. And again, want to remind everybody every first and third Friday, Darrell will be here right around 8:30. We'll be having sometimes a special guest like Sally. Other times we'll just be going over a lot of different county business. But whatever it is, we're trying to do it to keep you more informed about what's going on in your county.
That's the whole goal. We do appreciate our local newspaper and you, Stan, our radio folks. You're at every meeting, and you all do a great job of reporting, but you can't give it an hour. In your news report.
Sure couldn't do all this in an
And
hour.
but at least it gives me a chance to get some more detailed information about different areas, and I do appreciate the opportunity. And
We thank you.
wrote a check for it this morning, so you can pay the electric here later today. So we'll be back here. Figure out somewhere around the 21st of January. Be back on the air. Until then, I hope everyone will be safe, happy, healthy, and God bless each and every one.